Hi there, families. Thank you for joining me for today's art lesson. I want to give two quick reminders before we get started. Reminder number one is that our pause button and rewinding are great tools whenever we have our weekly art projects. Also remember that if your scholar needs to break up our videos into smaller chunks and several sittings, they are always welcome to do that. Reminder number two is if you are somebody who likes to sit alongside your scholar and follow along with them as they complete their projects, you actually may want to take a back seat for this week's video, and I'm sure that you will find out why over the weekend. So please encourage your scholars to take their time and really focus on this one, and I hope that you guys enjoy.
Okay, scholars, so for today's art lesson, we are going to be creating something inspired by Vincent van Gogh. Now, when we say inspired by, that means that it's not going to look exactly the way he would do something, but it's going to be similar. So we're kind of going to take ideas and colors and different techniques that he would do to make his art and put our own twist on it. The other important part to remember for today's art project is that we are making it for our mothers. We know that Mother's Day is right around the corner. It is on Sunday. So when you finish this art project, make sure you save it somewhere safe for your moms and those other special mothers in your life, like your aunts or your grandmas, and you save it for them so that on Sunday you can give it to them. So to get started, we are going to be creating the base for our irises. The base for our irises, we are super lucky, is just some grass. Grass is really easy to make, and it's going to be very tall. So let's make sure that our paper is turned long ways, and make sure you've got your eraser and sharp pencil. And once you do, I want you to go ahead and start making some tall grass. Not short grass all the way down here, but some tall grass. What's very easy about grass is that it doesn't have any patterns. So some of my grass can be curvy, like these lines that I'm making now. Some of them can be sideways. Grass can also be big or short. Irises are very big flowers. They're pretty tall, which makes them extra beautiful. But it also means that they need a lot of grass to hold them up. When you are happy with how much grass you have, you can go ahead and move your paper down and see all this extra space that we have on this side. The right side of the paper is where our irises will go. So when we make our irises, we will make one iris that's really tall with big petals, and it's going to be kind of like our mama iris. And then underneath it on this side, we're going to make a small iris with small petals and small leaves for like a baby iris next to its mom. And then on this side, we're going to write a super sweet message to our moms for Mother's Day. Capiche? So now let's get started on making our first iris. This first iris, we want to start from the bottom. It's going to be planted in our tall grass, and it's going to reach almost the top of our paper. I want you to put your finger right about here, close to the top, and then we're going to draw a big curvy line all the way down to our grass. When you have one curvy line, you'll do just like I did and make that second curvy line, and then you'll see we just made the stem of our iris flower. Now, irises also have very big leaves. So because they're tall, their leaves stretch almost to their petals. So I want you to put your finger right up here. This is where our petal, or not our petal, our leaf is going to end. So let's focus a little bit and make another curvy line. And I hit my finger, so that's where I should stop. Another curvy line that goes up. And then I want you to grab the top of that curvy line. And I want you to to make that leaf shape, go all the way down into your grass. I want my curvy line to just be a little bit curvier. And remember, we want to use those really, really gentle, careful strokes so that if we make mistakes like Miss Quinones just did, we can erase them nice and easy. Okay, scholars, so now I've got one big leaf. Now I'm going to make another one that goes this way. It's going to turn the opposite way. So let's grab the bottom of our stem. Make those small, gentle strokes all the way up, and then come back down into our grass. Nice work, scholars. This one is a little bit big for me, so I think I'm going to make it just a tiny bit smaller. Whenever you are ready, you can also make the stems that go inside our leaves. So just like regular leaves that you see in trees or on the ground, these leaves have stems. They're just really long stems. All right, scholars, so now I've got my two big leaves. I've got my long stem for my iris. Now I want us to focus on making the petals. So irises, like we said already, they're really tall, but they also have really long leaves, or not leaves, they have really long petals. So their petals, when they start off, are closed like this. And then when they grow up and they bloom, they grow and grow and grow until they're all the way out, like facing the sun. So let's make the center of our iris so that we know where our petals are supposed to go. The center of our iris is going to look kind of like this shape. It's going to be these little ovals right there in the center. Make sure you leave that little bit of space between the center and your stem. Because remember, we want our petals to have enough room. Then, when we make our petals, we're going to make 3 big petals. One up here at the top, one on the side, and then one on this side. And they are going to stretch almost to the sky. So when we make our petals, I want you to watch me before you try it. We're going to make the sides look like this. See how my sides, they make this shape, and then they do not touch on the bottom. So after you make those 2 sides of your petals, you're going to make one messy line at the top. Flowers are not perfect, so we want to make sure that the line up here is not straight. You want it to look kind of wavy and messy. Now, we're going to make 2 more petals here and here. There's my shapes again. See how they're still the same shape? And then we are going to connect them with that messy line again. You can do your messy line a few times, just like I'm doing. Now, for our last petal, we want to make sure that we reach from here to here. So this petal, I'm actually going to turn my paper so that I can see better. I've got one curvy side, another curvy side, and then my messy line. Scholars, if you want to go ahead and try, you can pause the video and get your 3 petals all the way finished. If you are already done with your petals like me, then let's keep going. All right, so now I've got my 3 big petals, and I'm missing my little baby iris down here. So I'm going to make a skinny, skinny stem coming all the way down. And instead of going this way, it's going to go the opposite way, just like this leaf. Remember, this one is going to be skinny and small because it's like our baby iris right next to its big mom iris. So now, our next step, we made our leaves, right? Our leaves are still going to be big and tall, and they're still going to go on the sides. So we're just repeating the steps that we already did. There's my pointy leaves. Now I've filled in the stem. Remember, scholars, if you need to take some extra time to do all of these small details, that is a-okay. Just pause the video and make sure that you rewind in case you missed anything. Right now, I'm actually going to fix my mama stem because I want it to be a little bit longer and a little bit bigger. You can keep your stem just like it is. I'm sure that your stem looks a-okay. But for me, I just want it to look a little bit longer. And if you want to do that, remember, you just erase your soft lines and fix it how you want it. Okay, scholars, so now let's go back to our baby iris. Our baby iris, we're missing the petals and we're missing the center. So let's make our center, and it's going to be extra small. And then our petals are still going to be 3, but we're going to do 1, 2, 3. So let's make the sides of our petals first. And it's okay if our petals touch our big mama iris petals. That's always a-okay. Remember, it's like a big mama iris and a baby iris. So you can just think about it like, oh, maybe they're hugging. Maybe she's taking care of the baby iris. And now I need to turn my paper just so I can see better. But you don't have to turn your paper if you don't want to. After you do your 2 sides, remember your messy line always comes. And for me, my leaf got in the way, but that's okay. It just means that a little chunk is going to be missing, but that's all right. Now let's make the other sides of our petals and make that messy line. And then when I turn it back, you'll see that I have my 3 petals on both of my irises. This petal is actually just a little bit too big, so I'm going to fix my messy line. Okay, scholars, once you're done with all your details for your irises, we're going to move on to the writing portion. The writing portion is going to be really easy. We're going to say Happy Mother's Day, and then you're going to have a little bit of leftover room so that you can add some extra drawings. You can maybe write an I love you message. You can do whatever you want in this extra space and even in this extra space over here. Capiche? So I'm going to turn my paper so that I can write, and I want to write in big letters, Happy Mother's Day. If you're not sure how to spell anything, you can always wait until I am done writing it, and then all the words will be spelled out for you. Scholars, I think it would be best if you write things really, really soft still. You don't want to write super hard, because if you write soft, then you can go in with your crayons and your colors and you can write over it. So that's just a little trick so that you don't have to do things twice. I'm going to write mothers in capital letters just because I want to. And then I'm going to write day. And you see how I've got this big chunk of right here? In that big chunk, you can write something like, I love you. You can write whatever you want, really. You can even write your name, like from, or you can write love, But remember, you don't want to leave it empty. So now, scholars, I want to just remind everybody the colors of our irises. So the color of our irises and of Van Gogh's irises are like this indigo color. Indigo is a combination of blue and purple. So if you want to color yours the same color that Van Gogh did, you can start off with your blue. I'm just going to do a little chunk, but you guys would do the whole thing. I would start off with my blue and then go with my purple and mix them. So if you don't have indigo in your crayon box, that's a-okay. If you use markers, it's a-okay too. You just gotta take your two and combine them. And you combine them until you're happy with it. But see how it's making this really, really cool indigo color? Then I would just fill up all of my other petals with the same color. Okay, scholars, that's it for your project. Don't forget that Mother's Day is on Sunday, so whenever you are finished coloring and getting all of your words written out, you should keep this nice and safe to give to those special ladies in your life. Okay, scholars, that's it for today. See you next time.